Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Yo, 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 yo. Yo. How y'all doing today, man? How y'all doing, bro? First of all, what's up? It's your boy Matthew Walker. Hope y'all doing good. Hope y'all doing good, staying well, staying healthy, all that great stuff. As you can see, the channel name has been changed once again. Once again, obviously it was Matthew Walker. But I remember when I first wanted to change the name, I wanted to change it the very reason because I just want to be looked at as an ordinary person who's just trying to help people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be looked at as the guy. You know what I'm saying? This is. I'm not trying to have that type of perspective, man. You know, I just want to be looked at as it's your neighborhood YouTuber, like. And this one person. I could not find this comment. I couldn't find. All of a sudden, I think it disappeared. But if you're watching this, bro, I want to say I appreciate it because this dude commented saying, "How about name the channel Just Matt?" So this wasn't my idea. This was his. You know what I'm saying? Again, I wish I could find the the comment so I could give credit where credit is due, but I could not find it. So I really apologize for that. But I just want you all to know that it was not my idea. It was his. And I did respond to him at the time saying I would consider the idea because at first it was kind of like, you know, but then 2 weeks later, it started catching on. I started, you know what I'm saying? I started liking the name for real, you know? I think the name speaks for itself. It's just Matt, you feel what I'm saying? And it could be this guy, it could be this guy, that guy right there, but this is just Matt. So I like that. I like that feel to it, you know what I'm saying? And simple, and sometimes you just gotta go with the most simplest thing, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, hope y'all mess with it. I would say this is gonna stay, but at this point I don't know. Like I changed my name twice, so we gonna see how it ride out. No cap. So we are on episode 5. Greatest, you know what I'm saying? What am I saying? Greatest peaks. Okay, I was like, what? Greatest Peaks, episode 5. This is Thinking Basketball. The author of this is Ben Taylor. So shout out to you, Ben Taylor. I really do appreciate the series. No cap. And it's title How Magic Johnson Destroyed Teams Without Volume Scoring. Now that is a very, very hard skill. Very, very, very hard skill. It really is. A lot of people even say like Ben Simmons. A lot of people say like Ben Simmons, like what he do is too easy. That is not easy, bro. To not shoot the ball, to not have a 3-point shot, nor really a mid-range shot, like an actual solid like mid-range shot, and he could still put up 20, 22 points a game. And the finish know what he's gonna do. They know he's either gonna go to the rack or pass it off. He's gonna pass it to somebody, and you never seen to fail. But there's actually some special players who just don't have to score. Like they just don't have to score. They could be the most impactful, important player on the team. So it's real hard, man. But yeah, that's enough talking for me. We going to get straight into this vid. 3, 2, 1. Let's get it, man.
Earvin Magic Johnson, the star of Showtime, a highlight reel legend who won 5 championships in Los Angeles. But was there more to his game than just fancy passing? What was his defensive impact like? And could someone who wasn't a huge scorer actually be the greatest offensive player?
His passing still amazes me, bro. Honestly.
You are watching what greatness is all about. Where's Larry Bird in all this? Michael Jordan
Come here.
saves the day.
This series tackles one question: who was the best at his best?
That's a hard pass, bro. That's a hard pass.
Multi-year stretches, examining the legends who provided the most on-court impact.
That's not easy.
These are the greatest peaks.
Let's get active. Let's get loud. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
He's a great basketball player. He's the best I've ever seen. You know, unbelievable. I don't know what to say.
See that pause he just took?
In the early days of the
That's
NBA,
meaningful.
ball handling was left to the shorter players. Point guards maxed out at about 6'5" until young Magic Johnson shattered that ceiling. At
6'9", bro.
6'8", Magic had the size of a big man,
You can say
but
6'9".
instead he became
Sounds
the
better.
tallest floor general in league history. Irvin always possessed these high-level ball skills, playing this way in high school and college, and his ability to handle the ball at high speed made him a unicorn in transition. With everyone within 20 feet of the hoop then, rebounds turned into foot races, and Magic's speed strained backpedaling defenders. That little change of direction is enough to spin around the defense, and there are no bigs back to stop the oversized Johnson. With everyone chasing offensive rebounds,
got super
Magic
high
could often
IQ, bro.
charge the rim as the largest player.
Super
And he
high
loved
IQ.
that in and out dribble, but also notice his change of direction at speed. The big step one way, then
In-N-Out
striding
burger.
the other. He
Let me see
wasn't
the In-N-Out
quite
burger
a
right quick,
Euro
man.
stepper in these spots, but his use of elongated strides for his height was part of his downhill devastation, even against set defenders.
Heard you.
That's a baby cut there, dust the first defender, a beautiful behind
Oh,
the back
yeah.
dribble, and then almost a proto Euro step with a big step right, then changing directions back to the left.
Yes,
He
sir.
wasn't Giannis, but
Big guard.
Magic's size and head of speed made it difficult to keep him from getting to the cup, and
Big
so he
guard.
became the godfather of the grab and go, scooping a rebound and flooring it to the other end.
Heard you.
Even on makes, he would build speed and drive it down your throat. Danny
gone.
Ainge stays with the crossover here, but
And
Boston's
pause.
center isn't back yet, so Magic can easily clean up the miss. Off this make, he builds up speed, and Seattle's center is near the three-point line, so that change of direction turns him around, and look at how low and sturdy Johnson is. He's powering through contact
Yeah,
with
he's
his
not-
body,
yeah,
and it's free throws.
He moving people.
Here come the Lakers again off a make, only this time Boston has pieces in place, but Magic upshifts into a backpedaling Ainge, and so help defenders need to sink into the lane, and that just creates wide open offense.
That's a gravity.
Defenses who flooded the paint in transition to wall off Magic still surrendered perimeter jumpers. These outside jumpers were big wins for defenses, especially long twos, but Magic's pressure created a kind of pick your poison where if help
Facts.
came, he smoked it with his passing. Jack approves. So that made big men reluctant to leave their marks, and then Magic just scored over smaller defenders.
He just sat
His
there.
playmaking was so threatening, he could use it to unlock scoring. Imagine playing defense against this. If you sprint back, Magic uses that body to cut you off and slow you down, and if you're a big man hustling back, you have to snap yourself around only to cover AC Green flying down the wing, but joke's on you because the Magician still has the ball.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, Magic's threat to score also
Spin
opened
move.
passing windows
In
in
and out.
turn. And this
Pass,
is all
dime.
possible
Hey.
because of his dribbling, behind the back,
my-
through the legs, whatever it took. Magic was incredibly secure with his handle in tight spots, changing speeds when needed, shielding the ball with his body, and snapping passes off the bounce. This
If you don't
allowed
like
him
his
to
passes,
probe
I'm sorry,
defenses.
like,
He's cut off.
I
real
just-
here,
I just
but
must
protects
be a
the
Magic
ball from
Johnson
the trailer
fan,
and then
no cap,
attacks with the
'cause-
left, and again the body protects.
Do you know how hard this stuff is, bro?
He made it look easy, but at 6'8", Magic's ability to protect the ball at speed.
In
was
NBA,
rarely ever
dude, he's
stripped.
doing this in the
And to use
NBA,
his
bro.
body to
Highest
shield
level of
defenders
basketball.
made him arguably the most dominant transition weapon ever. It was largely the same story in the half court too. This guard tries to funnel Magic into this big man, but he ends up bodying him out of the play, and it's free throws. Irvin also used that tight
That's kinda
handle
crazy.
and change of speed. This stop and go turned John Stockton into a matador, and
Jeez.
Magic's acceleration could blow by athletic wings. He could also score from floater range, flowing into shots at all kinds of angles with crafty little releases like this. Fist pump. When headed right to left, he also had a rolling hook shot from this range, and he could feel contact and immediately hop into a soft shot attempt. His size and body control made these looks clean, and Magic's incredible dexterity led to some seriously soft
That's
touch
wild.
on these shots. He also used his size to pick apart defenses from the perimeter, hurling assists over the top, and the accuracy and speed on some of these deliveries set them apart. Again, he's using his body here, able to shield off defenders by turning his back while still seeing all the action.
Jeez.
And his height let him keep a live dribble while just diming up teammates over shorter guards. And these were some of the most brilliant passes ever. Does anyone look
He
open
got long
here?
wings.
because Magic slingshots a pass over traffic to Worthy,
wild.
all because this defender turned away from James to navigate the screen. Worthy stopped
That
instead
was
of going
split
through,
second, bro.
and Magic's third eye read the whole thing.
Split second, bro.
Johnson fired bold passes like this across the paint regularly, and they required velocity and the acuity to read defenders' eyes so he could throw fastballs right by their heads and they couldn't react in time.
Gosh.
Bonus points for trying this against Larry Bird, who already picked off a tight Magic pass earlier in that game. That one was a looping
You know what I'm
attempt,
saying? They're
and
both
Magic
chess
clearly
players,
trusted
man. They
his
both play
fastball
chess, man.
more. Sometimes
Only they
even
can
too
read what
much,
they doing. You know what I'm saying?
overestimating how quickly he could teleport one past a nearby defender. And there are spots where a lob or something softer over the top look open, but he often throws it harder.
I got you.
Here he needs to lob one out in front of his intended receiver, but misses it, and then he's called for a one-step travel, changing his mind. Another minor nitpick about Magic's fastball is that sometimes it was a little too hot to handle. But most of the time, his passing velocity
I don't like fastball
fit
either,
the
man. I'm
ball
not gonna
into
cap,
tight
man.
windows. For instance, some of his entries from the top like this were just bullseyes. He wasn't quite at Bird's level
those
as
are the
an
best
outlet
passes.
passer, but he was splendid there as well, able to use that hairpin trigger off the bounce from the back court. And Magic's best outlets were snapping completions to his streaking teammates like this. There is an argument that Bird was a better pure passer of sorts, but I'm comfortable saying he was a superior off-ball passer where Magic's dribbling gave him a huge on-ball edge. Johnson carved out way more chances, and risk-taking in those spots is a natural trade-off. He also mastered certain angles and reads and relentlessly hit them over and over, and so it's nearly impossible to argue that anyone created more offense for his teammates in the 60s, 70s, or 80s than peak Magic Johnson. Using our best estimates of shots created, no one forced help and then set up a teammate more than Magic until the 2000s. And even if we include everyone from the three-point era, Johnson still looks historically strong as a playmaker in these estimates. So, just how high did all of this playmaking take the Lakers on offense? And did Magic give back any of that value because of questionable defense?
The Converse weapon. That's to shoot. That's Magic do what he was born to do.
Toward the end of the 80s, more of Magic's shot creation came in the half court as the Lakers moved away from a steady diet of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar post-ups and started running more pick and roll for Magic. These were mostly side pick and rolls inside the line, where defenses committed extra defenders and Magic could spray passes for open looks.
Heard you.
This two-man game gave defenses fits, where if they didn't send extra defenders, Magic could slice into the openings himself. But of course, his passing punished any help. The defense collapses, and this was before that little lob pass was popular. Off pick and roll, Magic could use all his little scoring tricks headed to the rim. He could put that speedy hook pass to good use, hitting the roll man. And it wasn't as common, but he could make the pocket pass too. But perhaps the most critical part of this half-court dance was Magic's outside shooting, where he'd punish defenders who went under the screen.
Okay.
He didn't pull this as frequently as some players do today.
He
but
pulled it more than Ben
there were
Simmons.
times when he was good fire, and he was an underrated outside
Hey.
shooter. In the last 3 years of his career, he shot 90% at the foul line, and
Wow.
he extended his range beyond the three-point stripe, hitting 34% of those. Before the 87 season, Magic said he had to shift his mindset to become more of a scorer, and I think it's reflected in his willingness to pull the trigger on outside shots and attack in the post more.
Right.
He was more aggressive, taking smaller players to the block and using his size to score over them like this. Although on these little flip shots, he did need a clean look to be effective, so instead he regularly busted out hook shots with both hands. And his combination of size, strength, and craftiness made him a serious mismatch against guards
And
down there.
that opened his
And yes,
depth of
if you
scoring.
send help, he would set up teammates from the block. Look, I'm not a doctor, but double teaming Magic Johnson in the post is not something I'd recommend.
True that.
As Kareem faded, the Lakers actually played more in the half court behind Magic. Their pace was below average from 1987 to 1991, and that's when Magic quarterbacked some of the most efficient offenses in NBA history. In the back half of the 80s, the Lakers produced the third best offensive stretch since the shot clock in both the regular season and the playoffs.
Wow.
Defense, however, was another story. Johnson often guarded forwards or slower guards to offset his slow foot speed. His lack of lateral quickness made him vulnerable on an island, and you can see how choppy his side-to-side movement could be, sliding in front of a young Charles Barkley here.
Got you.
Take a closer look at his footwork. He's on his heels a lot, gambles with a reach, then can't really break well and commits a reckless foul. Same technique here, and he's roasted by a pedestrian point guard, although Magic rarely had to venture outside 20 feet in the 1980s like this. Back then, sagging way off guards who stood near the line was standard, and this buffer helped him avoid breakdowns in these matchups. When he played slower forwards, his size definitely helped him. Here, Bird's not quick enough to beat Magic's loping steps.
Okay.
And as he lost some quickness at the end of the decade, he could be assigned to jump shooting bigs, because LA's forwards, AC Green and James Worthy, were both nimble enough to handle many wings.
Gotcha.
If those big men were to take Magic to the post, his size offered some resistance, although even on the low block, his subpar agility and lack of vertical explosion could be exploited. He was actually more comfortable double-teaming the post, where he could dig down and attack big men of that post-centric era, although I wouldn't call his hands great. They could miss the mark, and he would foul on imprecise swipes at times.
I see.
At 6'8", he did make kick-out passes a touch harder, yet he didn't attack the ball on that first dribble nearly as much as someone like Bird, often remaining upright on these plays or offering a weak flail at the rock. Magic's height was more of an asset on entry passes from smaller guards, and here comes that pseudo Euro step again. This is an overhead view of the perks of being tall, just throwing his hands up against a smaller guard, and deflections like this triggered that vaunted Showtime fast break. Like Bird, Magic also roamed a lot on the edge of the paint, so he could slide over on drives like this when he wasn't doubling the post. Here's a nice sequence where he stays with the cutter and then peels off to help on the action, and that deflection saved a Boston layup. He could also help down on cutters at the rim, sniffing this out and doing just enough to disrupt it, and this is probably the best defensive play I've seen him make in the late 80s, quickly reacting to the pass this time, and those hands were right
That's good
on
hands.
the money.
Yeah, good hands.
Yet for all of his court vision, Magic wasn't always aware of the ball, occasionally tunnel visioning on the screening action in front of him as the ball dribbled right past him.
I see.
He also fell asleep every once in a while. After a jumper, Bird beat him over the top twice with this in one game. Here he is in transition, unaware of the threat behind him, and he gets a taste of his own medicine. But these issues weren't too common. His bigger issue in the paint was verticality. He often slid over but offered statuesque resistance, and even Magic's better rotations weren't always effective because of how floor-bound he was. Here's a bumpy possession highlighting his two biggest weaknesses. He can't contain the guard courtside because of his slow feet, then he lingers on the edge of the paint and delicately slides to the ball for a foul. He rarely contested at the rim in the half court, but in transition he was often the first defender back, and he might as well have been 5'8" in these situations. It's not a huge part of the game either, but this is probably the best transition contest I found in countless opportunities. His typical approach in these spots was avoiding contact by subtly moving out of the way, which preserved Magic's body in exchange for paperweight defense.
Yeah, it's low-key just an open leg and no cap.
He didn't block many shots during this period, and when he did catch one, it was using that same low block technique we saw from Bird, targeting the ball while it's in the hand still. And it's amazing to me how similar
He's a good help defender.
These two were.
You know what I'm saying?
Neither was suited to stay with quick perimeter players, and they often roamed around on defense, taking advantage of the compressed game back then. Bird pushed boundaries as an off-ball post player and shooter, while Magic cranked the dial up with his on-ball passing and speed game. And they also played next to Hall of Fame centers.
Yep.
And while Kevin McHale is rightfully heralded as an artist in the post,
Yep.
James Worthy was an isolation machine.
Oh my gosh.
Worthy blended perfectly with Magic as Kareem faded, providing a more dynamic half-court backup plan. Note how many great Magic passes are off a Worthy cut. And of course, Big Game James was incredible running the wing in transition. Unfortunately, we can't really examine their missed time during the 80s because Magic and his teammates were so healthy. But the more comprehensive approach we used in episode 1 that figured out a player's impact on his team ranks Magic second all time, reinforcing, at the very least, that he was having monster offensive impact.
Yeah.
All-in-one metrics also view his peak as one of history's very best. If we use 1986 instead of 1989 here, he's actually 5th in both stats, but I don't think there's enough of a defensive boost from that 86 season to outweigh his increased offensive aggression at the end of the decade. Remember, that aggression only enhanced his playmaking, the opposite phenomenon we discussed with Wilt Chamberlain in episode 1. Magic scored less than Wilt, but was a far more dominant weapon because he maximized his playmaking off of his scoring.
Heard you.
He did this with near optimal shot selection as well, rarely ever forcing low percentage attempts or settling for something easy before testing the defense. Magic's also viewed as a good rebounder because of his 6 or 7 boards a game, well listed as a point guard, but he was functionally closer to a wing and wasn't overly physical boxing out big men when switching on to them.
Gosh.
And while there might have been a tactical advantage to him cleaning the glass to start the fast break, I think this kind of rebounding only added a little defensive value. I do think he could string together decent possessions in the moments where his motor was revved up, but it's hard to view him as much of a positive on that end. Instead, the offense is so good, it elevates him among the legends by itself. His game does come with a small trade-off. He was significantly less effective without monopolizing the basketball, meaning any other on-ball star wouldn't fit well next to him. But with post pieces or good finishers, he basically guaranteed you a championship-level offense. And that means, despite only scoring 20 points per game, Magic Johnson has a strong case as the greatest offensive player of all time.
Of all time. Hey, man. Shout out Thinking Basketball, Ben Taylor, for this video right here. Learned a lot right here. I actually didn't know Magic Johnson was that much of a, I don't want to say a liability on defense, but for his height, he could definitely have done a lot for a defense. Imagine if Magic Johnson was a two-way. Oh my gosh. If Magic Johnson was a two-way, like his defense just as good as offense, oh my gosh. You know what I'm saying? But he's an offensive threat. You know what I'm saying? So offensively, he is goated. You know what I'm saying? On defense, the statue standing, because he didn't have like a vertical leap. You know what I'm saying? Like you see Zion Williamson, right? And when he get rebound, he goes straight back up and he could dunk it. Like his vertical leap and his I don't know. I guess you could say like pogo stick type like reaction, to just go back up. You know, Magic didn't have that, so it was hard for him just to jump up immediately. You know what I'm saying? So he just stayed down. And then it's like he just moved his contest out the way, like he come this way and he just kind of, you know what I'm saying? That, lateral quickness he was lacking. But he did have good hands and he was a good help defender. You know what I'm saying? So helping on double team, good switches off the screen, coming up behind, you know what I'm saying, for like a sneaky block. Little things like that. So that's why I say he's not that much of a liability, but he could definitely been a way better defender if he, just fix up the little scrappy things. Which is kind of ironic to me, because I would think that he'll have a lot of lateral quickness on defense, given how fast he moves on fast breaks. But that kind of shows, like, moving forward real fast is different than moving laterally, you know what I'm saying, horizontally fast. It's difference. It's a big difference. You could be you could be the fastest sprinter, but be the slowest on sliding your feet. So shout out Magic Johnson for this, you know what I'm saying? Great vid. That was episode 5, man. That was episode 5. I think we might get episode 6 tomorrow or either Wednesday, but we're gonna see what else to react to for 6. If you got any recommendations down below, you can let me know in the comments. But yeah, other than that, I think that'll be it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, man, I really do appreciate all this love and support. Grind's not gonna stop. We're just getting started. You know what I'm saying? Put the foot on the gas pedal. We're gonna keep grinding. No cap. So yeah, man, hope y'all enjoyed. Make sure y'all, you know what I'm saying, stay well, stay blessed. Love you guys very much, man. Peace. I'm out.